Hello and welcome to DDOcast, episode 282, recorded live on Sunday, May 12th, 2013 at around 7 p.m., I guess 7:22 to be specific, in the Pacific. If you'd like, we like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every Sunday. If you do too, you could join us through a live chat on G+ Hangouts or on the YouTube channel. Big thanks to Cyber Ears for hosting our audio files. I'm your host, Siegfried Trent. With me is lovely producer and wife, Anne Trent. Hi, darling.
Hello, DDOcasters.
And from DDO Gamer, we have Geoff Hanna.
Hello. I think technically they're DDOcastees, and hello to them too.
You're right. It's DDOcastees, or DDOcast listeners, perhaps.
There we go.
On the podcast this week, we have no news, or at least almost no news. And we've got a little bit of Ludwig Beethoven with a story of a Warforged. And we talk a little bit about Warforged with DDO Gamer. And we make stuff up because there's not much news this week. But we're still going to be here and talk and bring you some DDO stuff so that you can listen when you can't play. Or you can even listen while you play. Anyway, game news for the week. Yeah, there ain't much. Nothing on the social media. There is no DDO Chronicle this week. There is no community update. There are no announcements on the website. There's a whole bunch of nothing. Lamannia was taken down for a couple hours to fix some bugs, and that's about all we could find. Exactly what those bugs were, we're not sure, but they fixed a few bugs. The forums...
It's got a new launcher.
Yeah, it has a new launcher.
Lamannia has a new launcher.
Yeah, and there's a new splash screen when you go there. It looks like... almost looks like a tiefling or something. I don't know, but they're in a city. Looks kind of cool. Very Forgotten Realms-y looking picture. Yeah, not much going on. Forums continue to drive me crazy. They log me out all the time, and then when I log back in, it navigates to the homepage, not on the forums. And then I have to go back for the forums again, and then it logs me out. And I keep getting these duplicate header errors whenever I click on links, and all the links in many of my threads are broken, and so are my hotbars, and there are no developers and no dev diaries. It's sad. So I miss the old forums. I really do. Please fix the new ones. Thank you.
Especially Dev Tracker. Please bring back Dev Tracker.
Please bring back the Dev Tracker. That would be great. And fix the logout timer. And those two things would go a long, long way. And, you know, there's the same threads and everything, and there's people there and good stuff to read, but, man, just kind of a pain in the butt. And not much going on right now. So, oh well, so it goes. So I spent a lot of time figuring out that there was no news. However, there is DDO Store news. The folks at the DDO Store are cranking along, so they're there as always, reliable, making money. 20% off of Hearts of Wood, which is nice because I need to buy one. XP Elixirs, also 20% off, and those are always awesome. Healing Potions and Spell Point Potions, so that's cool. I don't know who buys Healing Potions a lot. I could sort of see it maybe, but generally speaking, kind of slow way to heal yourself and kind of expensive. You can
I had to do it once.
Yeah.
I had to do it one time ever. Yeah.
I get free ones, and I'll put them on the hotbar and use them up eventually. But I don't know, not that powerful in questing. Spell Point Potions, on the other hand, pretty awesome. Let's see, free Bracelet of Friends is available. BRCF01. If you've never used one of those, they are pretty handy. You can summon up members of your party to different locations, speeding your travel, and can actually take people to places they otherwise can't go, which is sneaky, like off into Giant Hold and things like that. So that's kind of fun. Anyway, that's the news for the week. In DDO, I bring you Dragon Fragments with Ludwig Beethoven.
Russian Prince Productions presents Dragon Fragments from Eberron's Past. This week, we dive straight into the archives to enjoy the closing moments of a benefit concert held for the orphans of the Saltier district, whose parents, siblings, hair tusslers, and cheek pinchers were taken. Recorded live at the Lobster during last year's festival, Bear's Dire Blues Trio entertains the children. Oh, and take special note, for as well-behaved and obedient as the children were, there's always one rascal looking to get noticed, derail, or make a name for himself. Our little Gabby was no exception.
Okay, kids, it's time to say our farewells.
But before we go,
who can tell us the name of the little white dragon who was so naughty in the year of summer snows?
Athcraft?
Close enough.
A village on an island should never know such creep of ice or summer snows. But so it goes. These are the woes of our village on old Corthos. Never mind devour or the cowards that all cower, or a creature of such size. Lucky that he's sleeping, or I would close his eyes. A village on an island should never know such creep of ice or summer snows. Ray of sun, grabbing if begun. Fortune wore, but he felt he could be more, so he polished up all four and changed his name to Sled. With intentions led, so Wagon took his head. Now my friend is dead. A village on an island should never know such creep of ice or summer snows. From this I took a lesson, his family so should know. When on a hill for fun, the bottom you're not done. Be careful of so Wagon, his brothers are toboggan. The squeebly boo,
It's a squeebly boo.
the fleep-a-doo-doop-a-doo,
Deep-beep-a-doo-doop-a-doo.
squeedly bop bop a dow.
A squealy bop bop a dow.
Squeeb biddle doo, brinking doo, 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 doo. Village on an island should never know such creep of ice or summer snows. Funding for Dragon Fragments provided by a generous contribution from DEV Pharmaceuticals, proud to support self-diagnostic open dosage prescriptions for the creative mind. 2, 3, or 7 hemispheres, we continue to be your one-stop inspiration solution. Good night, Sig. Good night, Anne. Good night, everybody. See you pod next time.
And we're back. Thanks, Ludwig. Much appreciated,
Wow.
as
That was
always.
great.
That was
Very good. Very
That
strange.
was that.
And he mentions my character, Gabriazar. That makes me very happy.
Aww.
I feel lucky. All right, and speaking of Warforged, we're going to talk a little bit about the Bladeforged, which is one of the new things over on Lamannia. We mentioned it a little bit last week, but I thought I'd kind of go into some details since we didn't have a whole lot of news this week. So I went on and made a couple of these characters. When you're in the character creation screen, it's just sort of another class choice. So you can start as a specialist, or you can start as a warrior, you can start as a spellcaster, or you can start as one of these special epic, or not epic, but I forget what they're going to call them, iconic characters, I believe.
It's called an iconic.
Iconic. So you select iconic, and then from within then you can select different iconic characters. Right now there is only one. There is the Bladeforged Paladin. So basically this lets you make a level 15 character kind of straight up. They have special things about them, and there are some limitations, but also some things that are going to be completely unique to them. So this gives, I guess, a glimpse of how the system is going to work. So you can customize these characters, although in this case, the things that you do not get to choose is you don't get to choose an alignment. That's going to be lawful good. You don't get to choose a race. You are going to be a Warforged. And you do not get to choose your first level. That will be Paladin. So those things are fixed in stone. Pretty much everything else is available for you to customize on the characters. So there's a pretty wide range of choices. As you're making the character, you can either choose to follow the Paladin path, so it's kind of like a character path, or you can choose to customize your character. If you follow the Paladin path, it's going to set your stats, it's going to pick your skills for you, it's going to pick your feats, all that kind of stuff, until you kind of tell it to stop doing so. And so I thought I'd highlight what that path character is. So I made one of those straight up, let the computer make all the choices for me. And let's see, I came out with, now these are your base stats, and then after you equip all your gear and do your enhancements. So Start out with Strength 19 or 24 once it was buffed up. Dex 6 or 10 after buffing. Constitution 16/23. Intelligence is 8 and is never boosted. Wisdom 14 or 18 with your gear on, and Charisma 14, which rounds up to 21. Now, it doesn't pick your enhancements for you, so those are based a little bit on what enhancements I ended up choosing. However, it does do your skills. You get Concentration 18 ranks, and that's about it. You get your feats. Now, there's one special feat that the Bladeforged you're going to get at first level, no matter how you do your character, and that is Bladeforged. And so it's a free feat, doesn't take up a feat slot. It improves your Paladin aura by giving you +2 armor class and +1 to saving throws. It gives you a negative 10% slashing damage resistance, so whenever you take slashing damage, you get to take 10% less of that. And then every time you do get hit with a slashing weapon, you get a little temporary buff for 3 seconds that gives you +1 PRR. That's a physical resistance rating. And that'll stack up to 20 times, so you can get up to +20, although yeah, it's going to bleed off pretty fast. You get negative 10% on healing, even in addition to what normal Warforged are, so you're not going to heal yourself very well. However, you're going to get repair spells as Paladin spells. And I didn't see exactly, because yeah, you don't level all the way, you only get up to 15. But you know, instead of at first level you get repair light wounds, and I think you get repair light mass, and then it goes repair medium and repair medium mass. They never give you full repair in that list, so it's all the kind of leveled ones and then a mass version of those as you go up in levels. So looked pretty cool. It didn't say exactly at what caster level you get which ones, but they seem to be pretty generous with that, especially considering your Paladin. So then the feats that it gives you, if you take the full line here, is going to be Adamantine Body, Improved Critical Slashing, Two-Handed Fighting, Improved Two-Handed Fighting, Power Attack, and Toughness. And yeah, I have to say nothing in there is terrible. You know, Adamantine Body, a lot of people kind of poo-poo it, but I like it, especially if you're going to be a Paladin kind of defensive character. I have it on my fighter. And the rest of that stuff is pretty good standard stuff, so nothing bad there. Now I don't know what happens if you continue leveling and letting it follow its path. So there's a at least one more feat that you're going to get, but that's what you get at base. And then when you hit level 15, it's going to pop a little treasure chest in your thing and give you a bunch of gear. You get basically one item for each slot, and you get this cosmetic item that goes in there and gives you the Warforged Blades look. Although the Dawson that they give you also has the same look on it, so even if you take the cosmetic off, you look the same. Hit points without any gear or enhancements was 232, and then after I put everything on and did my enhancements, I had 377. For 15th level character, yeah, respectable. And that's about that for the base one. You're just a pure Paladin, level 15. I think it continues off in that direction. Now, I also did one. I wanted to see what would happen if I talked to Lord of Blades. He basically says, hey, would you like to be a Paladin? And I said, no, I don't want to be a Paladin. I want to do my own thing. And he's like, great. Well, you just go out there and live life to the fullest. So instead of having the Lord of Blades level you up, you still get the experience points, and you just leave the Canith Foundry and you go find some trainers. So I decided to make a kind of a Juggernaut-y type character, although interesting thing about this character is a little different than a normal Warforged. It's such that instead of a penalty to Charisma, you start with a penalty to Dexterity. So you start with a 6 Dex and a 6 Wisdom instead of 6 Wisdom and 6 Charisma. So a little bit different there. That makes doing the traditional Juggernaut build a little more difficult. So I just abandoned any hope of ranged attacks there and went with the straight characters. It was like 2 Monk, 2 Paladin, and then the rest in Artificer. Just to see if I could do it. Now, like I said, you have to have a Paladin level, and you have to be lawful good. So that's going to limit your choices a little bit. No bards, no druids. Some of those alignment-restricted things you're not going to be able to do. No barbarians with this path. But, there's lots of other combinations. You could do Paladin Sorcerer or Paladin Monk and Artificer like I did. Whatever you like. Lots of different options. Paladin's always kind of fun for the saving throws and stuff. And for making a Warforged Sorcerer, this is kind of interesting because you're not limited to the slightly lower Charisma. You can have a full bleed Charisma if you want to. So that's kind of neat. And then, with the Paladin levels, you get some saving throws and stuff. So, and make some interesting characters with that. Anyhow, stat, skills, feats, you get to choose all of those yourself. You still get the Warforged Blade thing, the Bladeforged feat. So you get the little +2 on the aura, and you have the limit on the healing, and the extra resistance against slashing damage. So that's kind of neat, unique thing that you could add to the build. However, if you're going to make a healing character, you're going to have a little bit of penalty to self-healing, so maybe not so great for clerics and favored souls if you're trying to use this path. Gear, you get the same stuff as you do if you follow the path. Once you level to 15, that thing drops in your inventory. You get all that stuff, and that's about it. So I was able to make my character, and he's pretty cool looking, and yeah, seemed to work pretty well. I didn't actually play these guys, but like I said, I was happy. Hit points were pretty comparable with my custom build to the one that they did. So that's about that. And I know, Geoff, you've done some more research, especially into the items that you have and that sort of thing. So why don't you talk about some of your discoveries? Oh, I think you're muted there, sir.
Pretty much the whole DDO Gamer section this week is going to be about Bladeforged, because that was the only really meaty thing I wrote. I do want to point out before I do that, one DDO Gamer note is there were 6 articles written this week from people who were not me. So, that's more than I wrote. So way to go, people who are not me. Please keep at it. That's outstanding. I'm very pleased to see it.
Yeah, I read a couple of those, and they were quite good.
Yeah, they are. So, thank you, people. Please continue. Back to Bladeforged. I want to talk for a minute about just how cool they look, because I think they really look cool. I mean, the Lord of the Blades look I really like. He's got blades everywhere. Walking can opener, right? Swiss Army boss. And now you look like a little miniature version of the same thing. And one of the coolest things about this when you become the new Bladeforged is, and you missed this, or didn't? I know you didn't miss it, but you didn't mention it. When you get created and when you log into the game for the first time as this character, instead of appearing on the Heart of Wind airship, where you talk to this NPC that's kind of laying around on some cargo, and you tell her stories, and that's how you get your levels. These guys start out at the Creation Forged underneath House Kneath, and they get their levels directly from the Lord of Blades. He's right there, which is kind of cool. It's a nice change, very appropriate, and if you're going to be an iconic hero, what better way to start? Some specific things I wanted to talk about from building with them. For one thing, they appear to be 32-point builds, and that seems to be true whether you've unlocked that or not, because I tried it on my free-to-play account that hasn't unlocked anything, and they got 32 points also. They start with 6 dex and 8 charisma instead of the other way around like a normal Warforged would. So that's also a plus if you're planning on multi-classing into a charisma-based, or just going all paladin with charisma. You're not quite as charisma damaged as a normal Warforged. Also, I want to thank DDO Gamer Reader Arcat for pointing that out to me, because I'd missed that too. The cosmetic armor kit is cool because you're going to outgrow that docent, but you can still have the cool Bladeforged look with the cosmetic armor kit, right? The repair spells are wisdom-based, which is kind of interesting. Those are the only wisdom-based repair spells in the game, right? All the others are int-based that I'm aware of. And also you get your mass repairs way earlier than you do on most classes. So I think that's a really powerful ability to have, a full-on melee character. I mean, when I was building Defender of Sybaris, and he's completely self-healing with, with this built-in repair capability, and he's pretty good at it too. So I also went and I took a look at the gear breakdown. It's pretty good for a 15th level character. It's not good for a 20th level character. And it's going to be a little tough to upgrade. You're going to have to upgrade it all at once, because each item that you get has 2 things on it, and they kind of interlock to build the gear kit. And it's going to be hard to say, like upgrade just the boots, without accidentally affecting the overall. But do you mind if I run through real quick the things that you get?
Yeah, let's go for it. They are pretty interesting items.
So, well, and rather than naming the items, I'm going to name the abilities that you get when you're done. Okay? So you get Spot, Repair, Intimidate, and Concentration at 13. Everything is at second shelf. None of it's quite top tier, right? But it's 13 is pretty good, right? You get a +2 attack bonus. You get Con, Strength, and Charisma at +5, and Dex and Wisdom at +4. No int. I guess when you're made out of wood, you need a brain. You have Dodge at 2%. I kind of wondered about that. I mean, why 2% dodge? Oh, well, whatever. 2% of dodge, striding 25, melee alacrity at 10%, which is a real nice thing to start out with at 15th level. And this one here, repair amplification at 10%. Now, my question about that is, I've never heard of repair amplification. Is this the first time it's been put into the game?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I've never seen it before.
So does that not mean that this piece of starter gear is almost essentially, end game kit? I mean, 10% repair amplification is pretty awesome for a lot of Warforged, I would think.
Yeah.
So you get that. You get protection 4, death block, vitality for a special thing called vitality for 20 more hit points that looks like it, and it does stack with greater false life, which you also get. You get moderate fortification, which is the one that's a downside because you need to be at heavy fortification by 15th level.
Well, Warforged get 25% automatically, so that'll put them at 100%.
These stack?
Yep.
Oh, well, never mind then. I take it back. Let's see, greater Thorn Guard, greater parrying, and then 72 spell power in Reconstruction to manage that self-repair capability. So, that's a pretty good set of capabilities for a 15th level character.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
And that repair amplification, just outstanding. It's a shame it's bound to character. Now, there is a downside to these guys, okay, and that is they cannot TR. And a lot of the forum opinions that I'm reading are that downside is so significant that a lot of people are not interested in trying this at all. I guess I understand their point. But having said that, is it permanently we can't TR, or is this going to be like Druids, where you maybe you can TR later? Can you TR into a Bladeforged? Well, I've been told no, but I haven't tested that personally.
So far, the rumor mill is that you cannot reincarnate, and it is intended as a part of the iconic character class or character set of classes.
That is indeed the rumor. That is indeed what seems to be the consensus on the forums amongst a bunch of people who really don't know, right? So, and I don't either. I can tell you can't TR in or out now, and where we'll be in 6 months, I don't know.
Well, as I recall, we talked to Fernando or somebody. Steiner might have been part of that
Producer
interview.
Glenn, I think it was. And,
was it Producer Glenn? Yeah.
Well, Steiner even went to PAX East and interviewed a bunch of people there. So that's where you would probably find the answer.
Yeah, and I remember them talking about these characters a little bit, that they were coming up, and they kind of talked. They weren't specific, but they wanted to seem to say that this wasn't going to replace endgame character building. It wasn't intended to be more powerful than all your other characters. They wanted it to be kind of a jump start or something a little bit weird and unique for veteran players. So it's either for newer players to kind of get into the mid game, or for veteran players to just have something a little bit different as an option. So I think that's the intent, but they didn't really want to make them straight up better than somebody who'd really built an in-game character and custom designed them.
Very good. So, and the other part is, we know they're raising the level cap, and eventually they're going to raise it all the way to 30, right? So, maybe the whole TR end game is being de-emphasized anyway. Maybe they want us to stop mucking around in levels 1 to 20 and hurry up and get into levels 20 plus, right?
Okay. By the way, I have found it. It is an actual post by Squeak of Doom. Bladeforged iconics are not supposed to be able to reincarnate.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Thank you. There we go. That's an authoritative word. Thank you for pulling that out. So anyway, that was my impression. I enjoyed him. He's a big strapping looking guy. I made mine into a Defender of Sybaris. Probably not the perfect choice, since that's, to me, a sword and board kind of build, whereas, a Warforged is kind of, great weapon sort of build, but looked like a good set of trade-offs to me. And there you go. That's about all I have from DDO Gamer this week.
It's not clear to me if these are going to be in the update or not, but it seems likely that this one will be in there, but I'm not sure. So, I don't know. It's all Lamannia, but...
Well, this will be introduced in the Shadowfell Conspiracy expansion. That is the intention of Iconic Heroes. That's one of their feature points for that specific expansion. And this is, I believe, a paid expansion.
Yeah. Well, I'm really curious to see the others. It works real well for me because I really only have one TR character, and only one character I ever really intend on TRing. I might do some of the others at someday if I feel limited by my 32 points of character build and want a couple more stat points, but I don't see it. The amount of power you get for the amount of work you have to do is not great for me. So these are kind of cool. I like making characters at higher levels. I get to make a lot more build choices. I doubt I would just take their straight up, yeah, I'm a paladin thing. I would customize my character. But depending on what some of the other iconics are, I very well may consider making characters with them to sort of fill some of my variety slots, since I like to have something for every race and class and all that kind of stuff. So
right. Well, the iconic heroes are supposed to intended to be this sort of race class combination with new racial abilities. So and there's intended to be 3 of them, and we don't know what the other 2 are just yet.
Well, we know Drow Ranger is one, right? And I mean, didn't Jerry kind of give us an official heads up?
Yep, we know that there's a Dread Ranger coming, a Drizzt clone, no doubt.
A Drizzt clone?
2-weapon fighting ranger.
Do you get 2 Panthers all at once?
Yeah.
That'd be funny.
You just stand on each one and you run around. It'll be awesome. Yeah. I don't know. If the other 2 are like this one, I think I'll be happy. I think this thing's pretty cool. It's kind of fun.
I noticed that Anne posted the list, the actual names of the items, and that the repair amplification is on a trinket, which is a good place for it if it's something you're going to carry on later on. So
yeah, absolutely. It's rarely a required slot for most characters, so that's cool. Hey, you get a little bit of double strike as well. The funny thing is, I'm not sure if in the adamantine body you can use +2 dodge, because it's limited by your dex bonus and or your max dex bonus. I don't know how much you're going to have with the adamantine body. You could probably improve it a little bit, but I thought that was kind of funny. I didn't look on my final character sheet to see whether they were actually using the dodge or not.
Limitation of dodge bonus again?
The limitation? It's limited by your max dexterity bonus on your armor. So if your armor only allows for +2 dex to armor class, it only allows for 2% dodge as well. So if you have more dodge than that, it's going to cap it. So you don't see a lot of super dodgy paladins. But they're out there.
Are there any feats or any special enhancements to increase decrease that limitation?
Yeah, currently Armor Mastery does that. Yeah, and Mobility also does that. The Mobility feat didn't used to, but it does now. And I think there might be a couple more. Arcane Fluidity, or was it Mithril? I don't know. There's one for the Mithril body that increases the dex range as well. And there's certainly items that do it as well.
Right, like isn't Jorkindale's collar? Is that right? No,
I'm not sure. I don't know my items super well, but I know that both on random things there are slots for that. There's also, I believe, some of the they're not enhancements, but they are augments. I think some of the augments could do that as well on armor. So
cool.
Very good. Okay.
Yeah. It's I forget what the trait's called, but.
Well, this is probably one of the things that's coming by that's going to force me to make a paladin, because I have tried to make paladins before and I usually fall short of running with them or following through on my build because I'm kind of not fun kind of a category. But will be fun. So.
Yeah, actually, with those mass repairs, if you had a bunch of these paladins together, they could self-heal themselves pretty well. Kind of fun.
Right. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to the what you've been doing section of the show. What have I been doing? I ran with the TR group again. That was fun. I kind of leveled up my, because there's double TRs in the group, and then I was just playing a regular character. You get capped out while they're still at a lower level. So I swapped characters into my Drow Sorcerer, Hottie Pants, Big Fiddlesticks, which I made just because of that Sean Connery sketch that I did. So I thought I'd make that as a real character. She's kind of funny. It's a fire, savant, sorcerer, drow with I think we're level 8 now, and I've got 80-some hit points with ship buffs. She doesn't have toughness, so it's kind of a fun character, but she can do 300 points of damage with a fireball, so I just sort of hop in and boom, and then run away. Waiting for other people to get aggro and then kill everything off and kill still. She's a lot of fun. And the one thing about playing a character where your hit points are terrible is I am much better about not dying in a way, because I know I'm going to get killed by everything, so I don't take stupid chances or I don't run into traps, and I'm like, I'm going to let you guys all go first, and I will come in and clean up from behind. So, I don't know, kind of fun playing her. I was enjoying that. Also, she's a character that really just can't solo, so it was nice to have a group that was playing actively to drop her in on and get some levels. We watched the musical Chicago. This is DDO related because Shamgar, the mighty epic professor, invited us to the opening night of Chicago with a stage company that he does the stage building for. And indeed, the stages were very lovely and worked quite well during the performance, and they had good performers. It was a pretty cool night, so big thanks to Shamgar for that. How about you, Dawn? What you up to?
Mostly I did what you did, and that's run with my TR group on Wednesday. Didn't even get a chance to run any raids. I've been just really busy this week. But I obviously capped out on my half-orc barbarian while the other double TRs were running through, and I just decided to, stick with it because they needed a beat stick because they're all soft characters. It's like 2 casters, 2 healers, and actually no, there's 3. Yeah, 2 casters, 2 healers, and then there's me. And then you brought your trap master, Trappy McTrapperson of Trappersville.
Yeah.
So I had to stick to the group and beat the stuff down so I could go through it.
Yeah, but they had a rogue wizard who was actually a little better at traps than I was because he was geared up. So
well, yeah, he produced some like low B house canvas stuff with plus 15 spot, like at what, minimum level 1. Yeah.
Well, probably a little higher than that, but yeah, you can get it as well. So.
Yeah, he worked on it, so that was fun. Yeah, it's Mother's Day. I invited my mother over for afternoon tea, and we watched Big Trouble in Little China by John Carpenter.
So good.
Yay, Mom!
I love that movie.
That is one of the greatest movies ever.
It was so funny. It's like Lopan comes out and starts wreaking havoc at the end, and Mom's going, "Oh dear, oh dear, oh my."
She's very cute. And happy Mother's Day to all my mothers. I have a few of them, so.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. You are quite special. I hope you are gaming and your children are leaving you alone and letting you game.
Cool. How about you, Geoff?
Well, I didn't get a ton of DDO in this week. I got a bubble on my TR. The dexterity-based battle cleric is continuing to earn XP. She's doing just a fine job.
Cool.
Takes her a long time to chop stuff down, but okay, that's all right. At least she's going to stay alive long enough to do it. It's time for me to start thinking about her next build. Actually, I'm thinking of Paladin. Coincidentally, I'm not looking forward to this life. If I could TR her as an iconic Paladin, maybe so, but I cannot. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll go 10 Paladin, 10 Barbarian or something. I don't know. Figure that out later. I played with Neverwinter a little bit because everybody's writing articles on comparing Neverwinter to DDO, and so I figure, well, eventually I'm going to have to as well, and therefore I should at least check it out. So I ran 3 or 4 different characters up to level 4 or level 5 in Neverwinter, which doesn't really count as anything. I don't know.
Yeah,
it was long enough for me to form a few opinions about a few things. And I'll write about those when I eventually get to it.
Cool.
Overall, it was okay. It's okay. Overall, it's close enough to DDO that it annoys me that it isn't DDO. So,
yeah.
I have to use WASD to steer and mouse to shoot, and I never mastered that. I never have. And maybe I can remap it if I hang out with it. I don't know. But right now, it's just like, wait a minute. No, I'm supposed to hit U, and here they want me to hit F, and stop that! I wish it was.
I hate the mouse staring on that game right now. It just fuses me to hell.
It does. So it looks like it's kind of fun in many of the same ways that DDO is fun. But now I'm jumping ahead. Okay, you just read what I'm going to write whenever I write it. Maybe now I don't have to write it. And of course, I got a half dozen more attempts to get a Shard of Fury of Flame. But I haven't seen any shards drop in the Spinner of Shadows at all since the last update. No one in my and I've been inviting people to join my groups and stuff and help me loot, and I have not seen any shards of anything drop at all since the last update.
Yeah, I've had that problem in a bunch of epics trying to get stuff, and no luck whatsoever. I know they're still out there. I see them every once in a while, but the drop rates seem to be real low right now. Don't know why.
I saw Seal, I've seen a couple of seals drop, but not any shards at all. So anyway, that's what I've been doing.
Cool. All right, well, let's do community news. We got a little bit of that going on out there. Shamgar's Building Blocks 31 Charisma is up on DDOcast.com, and you can find out how the beautiful people live who have high charisma, or those who have low charisma. It's actually one of the more interesting ability scores in DDO, I think, just because it does different things for different classes. It's a casting stat. It's a skill stat for some classes. It can be important for UMD, which can really change the way your character works, or you might need it for Intimidate or Diplomacy or Bluff. So it's an interesting stat in DDO, as where like Strength is pretty much, hey, that's what you hit stuff with. And that's pretty much what Strength is about. And Con is, hey, there's your hit points. There you go. But Charisma does different things for different characters. Paladins get damage from it, or saving throws. It's just kind of a neat one. So worth checking out the article, I think, especially if you're a newer player. Definitely informative. Augment Cheat Sheet is available on DDOcast.com. We mentioned this last show. It's really quite cool, and cleaned it up a little bit, so it's just a little bit easier to read. Big thanks to Scott for putting it together, and for making it available to everybody. So pretty neat stuff. If you're interested at all in the augments, it's a real great way to just kind of pop it up and go, oh, that's what I can put in that item. Let's see if I can go find one of those. Gen Con action, we don't have anything new to announce, but Gen Con did put out kind of a catalog of the events that are going to be in the show so that you can make a wish list. I'm not sure exactly how you do that on their site, but I guess you can. And, we'll be doing episode 300 there, one way or another. It starts at 2 p.m. on the Friday of Gen Con, and sign-up starts on the 19th. So that's cool.
And you want to have your wish list filled out before the 19th.
Ideally,
because they go through and they process everybody's ticket purchases in order, and the really popular stuff sells out every time.
Oh, okay.
I've been trying to get into Car Wars for years, never made it.
So if you put it on the wish list, then does it automatically get signed up for it when the 19th rolls around, or?
There's a priority. I don't think that DDOcast will have much of a problem with overfilling too fast, but popular stuff does fill up, and you may not get it.
Oh, okay.
So, right, and there's a prioritization. You have to prioritize what things do you wish for the most, and in theory, that helps you, jump ahead of the line for that particular event. But again, I've had Car Wars #1 for years, and never made it.
Never got in there. Yeah, I'll have to give it a try. I think most of the events that I plan on doing are really huge things, so it's probably not a problem, but I should do that nonetheless and see what's out there. Maybe something will be like, oh my god, I can't believe, and I can do it.
Well, and can I point out how cool it was to go to the Gen Con site, like I always do, and look at events like I always do, and see DDOcast there, and even my own name. How cool is that? I was so excited.
It's very cool. So cool that you should sign up right now.
That's right.
Yeah, sign up.
You can be there. Witness history as we do episode 300. Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll have a good time for sure. And then the after party isn't too long after that, so it'll be a little bit of a break. And then I don't know when they usually start it, but a few hours later there'll be a DDO after party to get together with people. So it should be a fun DDO evening on Friday. Let's see, on our G+ community, we've got a survey question. If a named item drops in a raid quest and your loot and you tune, they're using the tune word, we'll get letters about that, God. And your tune cannot use it, but other people in the party could, should it be put up for roll or not? Kind of an age-old question, and but got a little discussion going, as it always does. I'm guessing everybody here is kind of if it has your name on it, it's your loot to do with what you like opinion. I know I generally do.
Yeah, I don't like telling people what to do. That's their loot. They can do whatever they want. It's not important, really. It's hey, what? Guess what? It's a game.
I have to ask: is my gamer girl in the party when this loots? Because I let her tell me what to do with it.
Yeah, there is that. And I'll do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't ask people. I don't even ask for it. I'm like, are you going to put that up for roll? I don't do that. I just sit like a little puppy dog watching the chest. Waiting. Anyone on a roll on this? Yes. Yes, I do. Or, I'll just give it to people, too, if they just, does anyone want this? And if more than one person says yes, then I'll have them roll. But if it's only one person, and sometimes they'll self-sort out. Those two people will say yes, and then one of them will say, oh, well, it's not that important to me, you take it. And then that's a self-solving problem. And I'd say, it's just my comment on that thread was, it's a lot more fun to give somebody something that they really, really, really want and are excited about than it is to take something that you don't really care about. That's my opinion. I mean, to hear them go, oh, thank you so much. Oh, this is great. I've always wanted one of these, and that's wonderful. And you're like, yeah, awesome. And I've been the beneficiary of people like, well, I don't really need this +4 int tome. Does anybody want that? Like, me? Oh, here you go. Oh. So to give somebody else that kind of pleasure, that's a great thing. So, be generous. But if you want to participate in that discussion, we got it up on the Yarking Grounds, where you can say anything you darn well please about DDO and have a good time discussing it. And that thread proves that there's people out there listening, so I can have a good conversation going. DDO Chronicle for the week. There is none. But Anne insisted we make up a Chronicle comment, so I made up a Chronicle comment. My Chronicle comment question is, if you could replace your limbs with monsters, which ones would you choose? And we invite our listeners to share their answers with us on Twitter by using the @ DDOcast Q, as in DDOcast Question, but DDOcast Q. We'll collect those together. We'll share them on the next show. If we get more than 5 entries, we will give away a prize of some kind, as the Chronicle comment often does. So we will step in and fill that void. I can't promise exactly what the prize will be, but it'll be something, and it'll be kind of cool. So do that. And meanwhile, we must answer this ridiculous question. I'll give an example. So I'll start, since it's my stupid question. If I were to replace my limbs, I'm going to go, I want a matched set of legs. So, otherwise it'd be pretty awkward. So I'm going to go with 2 displacer beasts, one for each leg, because they're pretty fast, right? And they can climb real well, and they've got tentacles to pick things up. So that gives me, more limbs, which I think is fantastic. Might be hard to buy pants, but it'll be pretty darn cool. And then my legs will always appear 3 feet to the left, which will just psych everybody out. And then for one of my arms, I'm gonna have an earth elemental, right? It's really tough, and I could break things and reach into the ground and pull out potatoes, and I don't know. But I think that would be good. And then the other arm, I'm gonna go with Warforged, maybe a sorcerer. You get a bunch of spells. So Warforged sorcerer over there.
I like that you had the entire earth to reach into and pull out of, and you came up with potatoes.
Well, my grandparents used to grow them when I was a kid, and I like them.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay, yeah. Very nice.
That's a nostalgic. That's what I think of when I think of reaching into the earth, pulling out potatoes. I was always amazed that they grew up in Alaska. Okay. Right. Geoff, you're next.
All right. Well, I agree with the matched legs thing, but I want thrash hounds because those guys can dance.
Disco fever, babe.
There you go, babe. I am good. And I think that for my limbs now, I think I want to have even more limbs than you do. So I think I'm going to go with a pair of mind flayers. And I have tentacles everywhere now. And no one will argue with me for very long, or at least remember why.
Excellent. All right, darling, what are you going for?
God, that's so tough. Well, obviously one side I want one of my limbs has to be a cleric. So I can get instant resurrection and healing and all that good stuff.
That is nice.
In one limb. So I can solo. Technically. Since it's my limb and it's a cleric, I can solo. I guess from my other limb, I would probably go for... What?
Unless it's a battle cleric, then you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah. No battle cleric. No battle clerics, thank you very much. It has to be a heal bot cleric on one limb. I guess the other limb will be an emerald dragon.
Ooh.
Because it would be just an elder emerald dragon, because I can do all kinds of psychic stuff and fly and teleport and mind manipulate other animals and creatures and all that stuff. So.
No, you can't. Your leg can. Let's get it right. You'll just be sitting there watching.
No, that was her second arm.
No. That was the second arm.
Okay, all right.
Sticking with the human legs, then?
I don't know if I want to, readjust my legs. I guess if I do my legs, I don't know, a Tarrasque. A pair of Tarrasques.
Oh, my. Oh, a pair of them.
And scary.
I'm going to go ridiculous.
We see you coming.
You would see me coming, and it'd be scary.
Jurassic legs.
Gonna be lopsided though.
Okay, so now that you folks have an idea of how stupid this question is, send in your answers, and a random winner. Send them. You can, like I said, Twitter, and use hashtag DDOcastQ, or you can email them at ddocast@gmail.com if you're old school like me.
Yeah, and, I've got tons of stuff. I've got some turbine points. I even got some Menace of the Underdark keys somewhere. I think T-shirts, bags, temporary tattoos. Yeah, there's just lots of stuff if you want it.
And anything that we don't give away before Gen Con, we'll be giving away at Gen Con. So
exactly, we're bringing them.
It will be blowing out the DDOcast prize archive at that event. Plus anything else we managed to accumulate until then. So should be cool. All right. Lightning Post. We're going to mention Sean Wilson has a DDO sketch that he put together, and he's looking for some help recording it, which we would appreciate because then we could play it on the show. It's a little comedy piece, and we'd love to have it, but it does involve like 3 women parts. And here at DDOcast, we only have 1 woman. I have eyes only for Anne. So we don't have anybody else to do the voices, and unless Geoff and I do falsetto. And I just, that might add an element of comedy.
And I produce. I don't act, dude.
Oh, hey, you have though. You have in the past. Quite famous for your sound producer role.
Oh, well, yes. If you ask me nicely, maybe. Oh, or bribe me. That's usually good.
I want to do the falsetto voice.
We could do it that way, but I don't know.
Yay, falsetto! Geoff did a falsetto voice.
Anyway, if you're interested...
Do more!
If you want to help out, you can contact... All right, you can contact Sean Wilson. He's very charming. I learned all my falsetto from watching Monty Python, but...
so much I have to mute myself.
He's got a blog. I'm never going to get this out. Anyway, he's got a blog where he posted a snippet of the sketch. If you email me, I can set you in contact with him as well. And I don't know if he's on the RDDO syndication or not, but should be able to find it out there. And we'll have a link in the show notes, of course. That'll be the easiest way to find it, I think. All right. Other gaming news. Standard action gaming videos is just something I kind of ran across. Well, I forget exactly where, but I think it was in my G+ feed. But they do short film versions of classic gaming moments. That is kind of what they aspire to, I guess. But basically, it's D&D movies, and they're pretty good, pretty well done. They have very nice costumes, not quite professional acting level, but pretty good. And fun to watch, and just filled with Dungeons & Dragons tropes and geeky fun. So, well worth checking out. I think they're doing a Kickstarter to do Season 3, so they got 2 seasons of videos that you can watch. I think each of them is a good 10 to 15, 20 minutes long, something like that, and they've got 12 episodes per season. So lots of stuff to watch if you're looking for some D&D kind of geeky stuff to check out. And also, the Dungeon Bastard Kickstarter is up and running. It is the world's worst dungeon crawl, which I think is awesome. And as he says, you've played the best. Now conquer the worst. Enter the flaming death pits of the Minotaur Mage, an official Dungeon Bastard adventure. Why? Because being a DM is easy. You just read some boring box text and send a couple of goblins into the room. A second grader could do it. Some of my critics disagree. Easy, they say, as globules of rage fly across the room. You think running an inventive, engaging, badass RPG adventure is easy? That's right, says the Dungeon Bastard, and I'm going to prove it by taking the world's worst dungeon crawl and making it awesome. Based on decades of RPG experience, I've culled together the most odious PCs, plots, and encounters and built a Frankenstein's monster of badassitude. It's called The Flaming Death Pits of the Minotaur Mage, Descent into Doomfire. And it has hackneyed Save the Princess plot. It has a pyromancer named Steve. It has role-playing. If you know Dungeon Bastard, role-playing is kind of a bad thing. So, should be pretty cool. And kind of the kicker is that Anne and I are probably going to end up playing in this thing. So that should be extra nifty. But that's his deal. We don't have anything to do particularly with producing it. Anne actually inspired the thing with a letter that she sent to him asking a question. and he came up with this idea. They modified it a bit since it debuted and turned it into this kind of worst dungeon crawl ever, but they invited us to play. So I was tickled pink about that, and so I'm excited about it. And
go and back it right now. It's at 13,000, and their goal is 16,000. And they've got 6 more days to go. So go back it.
Yeah, they're going to fund, especially if a few people run out there and do it. And you get a copy of this extremely bad dungeon and a bunch of other fun stuff. You get some Dungeon Bastard paraphernalia, and it's worth it just for the goodies that you get, especially if you're a D&D fan. And his videos are pretty funny. If you've never checked out the Dungeon Bastard, he's very amusing. He gives players advice on how to be badass dungeon crushers and so forth. So I like it. You ever watch this guy, Geoff? You checking it out?
I'm looking at the Kickstarter now.
Yeah,
I looked at it once before, and it's still funny.
Yeah, it's a riot. I mean, and I'm expecting the adventure is going to be really cool if you're into that sort of thing. I've always had a huge soft spot in my heart for bad movies, dumb parodies of things. I like Lord of the Rings. I like Hardware Wars. Any kind of dumb parody I love. So I'm just tickled pink to be a part of it. And even if I wasn't doing it, I'd still sign up for the Kickstarter because I'd want to get the adventure. It sounds like a lot of fun. So, I will get the adventure, and so I'll even promise I'll try to run it myself at some point afterwards, and we'll see how that goes. Maybe we can do a recorded thing of it. It'd be fun. All right. Let's see. WB Studio gains the rights to D&D movies. So this is pretty interesting. One of the hallowed bastions of nerddom and one of the worst records at making related movies that is in any way watchable has just been optioned to another adaptation. That's right. Warner Brothers wants to make a Dungeons & Dragons movie. From Deadline, the Heralds come with news. Warner Brothers seeks gallant scribes to forge it a great movie production, or at least a half-decent script. But it seems heralds have been outpaced by events, and the WB already intends to use a previously acquired script called Chainmail after a Gary Gygax created game that preceded D&D. Yeah, it's a little war game called Chainmail.
Oh, yeah, a movie about miniature battles.
Yeah, that'll be exciting.
This will be fun. What's my movement square?
You
can only move 5 squares, sorry. Unless you're charging Bull Rush. Extra 2, you -2 to AC. There you go.
Where did this news come from? It's very strangely written.
It's the Mary Sue Dungeons & Dragons movie.
Oh, okay. The MarySue.com. Okay.
Yeah, it's just weird.
It's just got a strangely
really poorly
written.
I'm sorry.
I don't know, but it's poorly written. It's a weird one to read. It's kind of a challenge.
Yes,
anyway,
it's a horrible one to read.
Yeah. Well, if I was prepared for it, I'd have the right cadence. But anywho, yeah, I think it's pretty cool that Warner Brothers got the right. Warner Brothers makes pretty good movies. At least they have the money to make decent movies. And all the other Dungeons & Dragons movies have been, let's face it, pretty horrible. They have maybe their charming moments. They're basically terrible. Or at least very cheap when they're at their best.
All right,
Thoroughly
terrible. So which movie have you seen, Geoff? Have you seen the first one and second one yet?
I have seen the first one, and I don't know if I ever made it all the way through the second one or not. It was on HBO for a while, and I'd get interested and want to see it. It was hard to watch. It really was, and I loved D&D so much.
There is a third one out, and I've seen it.
Yeah, Book of Vile Darkness. I actually liked parts of it. Like, there were bits of it that were interesting.
Well, I was so disappointed with the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, he's pretty terrible.
So that's the one that was straight to DVD, right? And for the UK only?
You played on the Sci-Fi Channel. Maybe it was only theatrically released in UK. Not sure.
Was it like Doctor Who style Mind Flayer, where he's really obviously made of cloth? And,
there's a lot of computer-generated work in there. Most of the effects were that.
Actually, it didn't even look like a Mind Flayer. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
But they called it the Mind Flayer.
Well, that's how you would know.
But it was an evil D&D party in that one, so I thought that was kind of cool. So that was a little different.
Yeah, that's right. Did it have a tiefling? I know it had a warlock. It had an assassin, like really iconic, D&D classes for that area. So it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there was a certain amount. It did some things that I've never seen done before in a fantasy film. So for that, I gave it some kudos. But overall, it was pretty weak. But still, I liked it better than the other two, definitely. The first one had a couple nice FX, but it had snails. And
And Jeremy Irons.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, Jeremy Irons.
In the role he will never live down.
Yeah. He's into the U-Bowl Hall of Fame, pretty much. Oh well. Yeah, but I look forward to them making a good movie that would be great. Whether it's based on the chainmail property or not, I don't know, but could be interesting. All right. Well, and it is interesting to see them all under one house as well. That is kind of different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think that's going to be about it for today's show. I think we made it through despite the lack of any news. We had a good time, so I know I enjoyed myself.
We gave it a valiant effort.
Absolutely. So I will saddle up my Displacer Beast and mosey off into the sunset, along with my wife, the Tarask, and good friend Geoff.
I'm
the Tarask Hounds. Dancing into the sunset. So big thanks to Anna, Geoff, and all the DDOcast contributors, especially Shamgar and Ludwig Beethoven, our many fine listeners in the chat room, and the people at Turbine and Wizards for making cool games. And if you want to be a part of the show or just say hi, you can call it 707-DDOcast or email us at ddocast@gmail.com. Until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chess level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to replace your limbs.
I'm working on my Tharascon dance.